Hello Fronds, it has been a long time since I made a Hoya video and I hope this one will be as good as all the others. Question that I have for you today is, how do you know if you are underwatering your Hoya? Welcome back to Botanical Woman. It is always a pleasure to have you guys here and thank you for your support. Having Hoyas for about 2 years now, I started noticing that some Hoyas can really be underwatered. And what are the telltale signs? I have a couple of examples here, and so let's look at them together. So this is, your typical Hoya. This is the princess. Yes. So this is the Hoya princess and carnosa princess, and it's got this weird these tentacles everywhere. And it's like, stay away from me. All right, here, there we go. All right, so with this plant. Well, let's just go back to a little bit with basics, okay? For those of us who are new to Hoyas and, wanting to figure out what's the best way to water them. So, as a quick tip, before you water, you should always, bend these leaves, especially the bigger ones. The small ones, you can probably do the same. But, don't water if they're still rigid. So this plant's pretty rigid right now. I have been underwatering it historically, and this is how you can tell. Leaves that are well watered are very stiff and usually pretty thick. Leaves that are underwatered get very thin and sometimes will lose their color and obviously drop off as well as the plant. Okay, so this is a good example. I don't know if you guys can see this very well on the camera. But here, this leaf is a kind of a result of underwatering over a long period of time. It's a little bit like, it just looks a little sickly, basically. And it's very, much more flexible in comparison to this nice dark green leaf that I'm holding here. It's very stiff, very shiny. And this one underneath here is just a little bit sad. So that is one of the ways that I know that this plant is underwatered. And the truth is, it's just not, this leaf, the sickly looking leaf, it's just not really gonna recover. It's probably just gonna fall off over time as the plant, reserves its energy for new growth and healthier leaves. So carnosas are pretty standard in that regards. They have similar texture and thickness. And so you can use the same ideologies, rules, guidelines, whatever you want to call them, to make the same assessment. So yeah, this plant I believe is a little bit yellow up here and more green. So I feel like when your plant is underwatered, another thing is that the older growth are the leaves that are going to go first. So older leaves are the ones that are going to suffer when you're underwatering. So this plant was highly underwatered because I got to a point where I was just so scared of watering my plants. I got into a period where I wasn't watering them enough and then they suffered because of that. Anyway, with the Matilda, what I have noticed is that when you are underwatering this plant, it might not show signs of it right away. And well, that's not true. If you severely underwater your plant, you will see the same result. You'll see yellowing leaves, you'll see the older growth dying back, things like that. But before we reach that point, this is how you can tell. The Matilda, actually, the leaves are quite plump if it's well watered. The leaves can actually shrivel up as the plant is basically in drought. So once you rewater it again and the plant rehydrates, it kind of plumps up a little bit. You really don't want to put your plant in that situation. You want to basically water it when it needs it. And to me, the best way to check is always, touch the plant, feel it, kind of really is it stiff? Yeah, this is pretty stiff right now. It doesn't need watering. So you really want to get to that point. And if your new leaves are, there goes some leca. If your new leaves are kind of really thin and you're wondering why, It's because you're not watering it as frequently as the plant would like, and you're letting it dry out probably a little bit more. So try to pay attention to that and maybe increase the amount of water. So yeah, I think this was the first plant that I was really able to be like, hey, actually, this is really strange. Why are these leaves super fat and these leaves are super thin? And it's not because they're different species, it's just the way people water their plants and also the different mediums that they use. Because actually this Matilda I got through 2 different people, and one of them was super thick. Like the leaves were super round. I wish there was a good example here. Like this one's pretty thick and round. And then from this other woman, she gave me also called Matilda, but the leaves were so thin. And I was just like, is it different? Is this really like 2 Matildas? No, the truth is it's just their watering habit. So if you want nice plump leaves, I would definitely try to pay attention to that and water more thoroughly. I planted this into a self-watering pot and it's, I would say, love and life. So this is how I manage watering these plants because I can't keep track. All right, here we go. So that's doing great. Let's look at this one. Or maybe even this one, okay. Yes, rotundifolia. So the rotundifolia is unlike the other plants that we just looked at. This plant has really thick foliage. I have not noticed really that the foliage gets thicker or thinner, but it could still apply. I am not entirely sure. I haven't had this plant for that long. It like grew for me and then stopped growing. I'd say this plant is like slightly more finicky than some of the other plants, but not like super hard. I can tell you, any plant that survives under my care, it'll do fine for you because I'm not the best. Although sometimes I feel like I'm a helicopter mom, I don't know. Anyway, let's look at this one. I just want to show you a variety of examples where I don't think the watering is mattering as much. This is the NUM something. I forget what the name of this plant is, but I haven't noticed that it needs, the leaves are kind of a little fuzzy. Can you guys see? Here, maybe a little closer. Yeah, so it's a little bit fuzzy, and I haven't noticed it like needing extra water. The stuff that I just talked about does not apply to all Hoyas. I just don't think it's so diverse, the family of plants that, and because of their origins and different habitats that they live in, you know, there's not just like one size fit all formula of how to care for a Hoya. I really think that they are different. This is a hybrid, and this plant actually is quite plump as well, or can be. The leaves can be quite thick, or it can be quite thin depending on, you know, once again, how you're watering it. Like these new leaves on the end here are way thicker than the ones at the bottom that I wasn't, you know, entirely sure what I was doing at the time. When you pay really close attention to your plants, I think they do communicate with you. You just have to be able to read the signs. And the same thing is true with, you know, string of hearts. I find that to be also true. Here's another one. Yeah, so this is another guy. Ooh, look, it's blooming. Oh, it's so cute. Here, you guys have to see. Can you guys see that? Is that too close? Yeah, it's too close. I don't know. Is it focusing? Just trying to look for my eye. But super cute bloom. It smells like feet. I forgot the name of this dude, but as you can see, like this leaf, super wrinkly the edges. It's not getting enough water as it would like. So it's definitely thinner. I have noticed that like this leaf down at the bottom, which probably was not cared by me, but it's a lot thicker. So, and waxier, I would say. As you collect more Hoyas, I feel like, you know, you'll get a better understanding of, you know, how they are under your care. And it's an interesting family of plants, because yeah, there really isn't a one size fit all. If you guys are interested in learning more about how to grow plants in a system where there's no drainage, don't forget to subscribe because I will be making a video shortly right after this one to give you guys some tips of what I've learned about growing plants, in a terrarium or drainage-less system. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I always love hearing from you guys. And don't forget to keep growing and stay safe. Ciao!